So first off, I would like to start with how awesome it was to see you all face to face on Tuesday. And I know a few of you were away, and I look forward to seeing you next week. But it was just really great. And I know my brain was very tired, and you guys did an awesome job for it being the first day back in months on the last module of the day. So what we're doing today is we're reviewing and reflecting and making sure that we know the concepts that we're looking at with cause and effect. And really, you guys did a fantastic job. What you're going to do once you've had a look at this video is there's some questions to answer, and it's just a link so then I can give you some feedback, and I've just got some evidence of all the awesome things that you can do. So I'm just going to work my way through the PowerPoint. If you weren't there, email me. I can give you a call and talk you through anything you're not sure of, or if there's some questions that are tricking you, I can give you a hand. Just send me an email. I can give you a call. I can email you back. Just let me know. So cause and effect in characters. Excuse me. Oh. So what we started off with is we just did a do now, and because it's been a while since we've been reading and we are going to finish off reading it, is just dot point the main ideas, the main things that happened in April Aardvark. So starting with him getting caught bullying and then deciding to create a fake social media account instead of learning from his actions, and creating the manifestation that is April Aardvark. That's just some of the things. There's many other points, but just have a go at that if you haven't, and just maybe refer to your notes if you want to have a think about it. So our learning intentions and success criteria. Good readers can interpret and analyze text by looking at cause and effect. And we will explore and analyze character motivations, actions, and reactions, because it's important to look at what they do and how they react to situations through a cause and effect lens. And again, we're going to go through what is a cause and effect lens. I'm starting with a statement. We did have a discussion about this, and again, this will help you out with some of the answers with your questions. This is actually the final question at the end. When students understand cause and effect, they can identify relationships between events and characters of relevance. So when you understand what happens and why it happens and what it affects, you can understand how characters react to each other and why they're important. If you need to come back and play that again, it's about 2 minutes 40 on the video, and that's just to help you out with the last question. Again, you might have some other ideas. So let's look at what is a cause. If we have a look, it's not coming. There we go. Oh, the cause is a driving force behind the text. It's the reason that things happen. So it's that narrative thread that goes all the way through. And sometimes there's little threads that keep things together that intertwine, or it's just that one big long thread that keeps everything together. So in essence, cause is the thing that makes other things happen. What is an effect? So also think about the difference. We talked about the difference between the verb and the noun effect and affect. So you might want to have another look at which one's the verb and which one's the noun. So we're talking about effect. The effect refers to the result. So what happened in the end? What happened to the characters? What was the overall end? It is what happens next in the text that results from a preceding cause. So again, we're going to be talking about dominoes, that domino effect. What was all these effects that happened? We have the cause, and then what is the effect that happens? So let's have a look at this. What is the cause and effect in the following sentences? Sorry, you can't quite see the question there. That's my fault. So my sandcastle washed away because the tide came in. So what happened? The tide came in. And the cause of it was the tide, and the effect was the sandcastle washed away. So we've got the cause and we've got the effect. The boy slipped in the mud. We came up with all sorts of things from, it can be something crazy like the boy, what might have caused this? He might have rolled down a hill. An asteroid might have hit him from outer space, which caused him to knock over and fall into the mud. All these sorts of things. The ice cream melted. Obviously, your basic one would be what might have caused this, the heat. What would the effect be? The ice cream had melted. But again, don't let, use your imagination. That's how stories get complex. That's how we have different complex things. We had dinosaurs. We had meteors. We had all sorts of stuff. I'll just go back a bit with this one. So what is the domino effect? And that's where we talk about, we've got the cause, and then that cause makes an effect happen, and that effect happens, which causes something else. So like dominoes falling over, that's our visual. And in class, we actually played with visuals. And again, you can try some of these things as well. We had dominoes where they didn't touch, so the cause stopped, and we'll talk about that more in a moment. But at the moment, what is a domino effect? We've got the cause, and then each one falling, and it's affecting the next one and affecting the next one. Again, it's that big, long narrative thread going all the way through. What could each domino represent? And we talked about each one representing a different effect and a knock-on effect, so different things happening. So again, one hits another, hits another, hits another, hits another. All right. So motivation versus accident. So if we talk about is he motivated? Does he do it deliberately, or is it an accident? Sometimes we can accidentally cause a domino effect and have things happen that we didn't mean to happen. But we can clearly say he was motivated by his lack of remorse, by his lack of reflection from just his evil character, that he deliberately set up the fake social media account to bully people. So I want you to have a look at this cute little puppy dog. We'll call him Bark. He is the effect, he is the final effect. He's the end of the narrative. What do you suspect will happen? Now, he had everything from he'll get squished, and trust me, he doesn't get squished because I'm an animal lover and I wouldn't do that. That's just not nice. His tail gets stuck. He might run away. He might vanish. He might morph into something else. All those sorts of things. So the predictable. So we talk about predictability here. Predictability of the cause and effect. Predictability means that we know what is going to happen. So if I hit this one, let's try. We come in, we have this guy. In this case, he's just a random guy. We did call him Ez because he was just me trying to knock dominoes down on a dog in class. So, and we knock it down. What happens? Oh, the dog gets out, runs out of the way just in time. Now, next one. There's a spider, and obviously April Aardvark loves tarantulas, so it went with the spider metaphor here. The person that we might call it Ez again, we might call it anybody else. What we're going to look at now, predictability, that we would squish the spider, and a lot of people like to squish the spider. That's just what they like to do. But we don't always have predictability. So here is the blue arrow, and I'm pointing to it, but you can't actually see me pointing. If I go like that, the blue arrow is the main effect at the end after each other effect. So if I just bring a going again, and you'll see what will happen. Predictably, it gets squished, but what happens? It actually runs up the wall and runs away. Again, that's called plot twist, all those sorts of things. I'm going to move on from spiders because I really don't like spiders. Another concept we looked at was macro and micro cause and effect. So macro being the overall effect. And how to remember that? We've got the picture of the school. Macro, the whole thing. We think of our school, Phoenix College. That is the macro, that is the whole school. But we also have the micro, which is each student. We want each student to be happy, healthy, at school. We want to be at school teaching you, and we're getting there. We're almost there, and it's so awesome. And I got to see you this week, and don't underestimate how good that is for me. I just loved being at school, even though by module 5 I was a little bit tired, like we all were. And the micro is the student. We want to look after each student. We want you all to succeed. So macro school, micro student. So think about that in the form of narratives. We have the long, big narrative. We have a big, long narrative string. We have our main ideas, and then we might have our little ones. So think Emmy and Deanna and them not wanting to get, they're thinking the bullying's funny because they're not targeted until they're targeted. That would be something that's weaved, something that's small through it. And again, we'll go through these long chain narratives and weaving and all that sort of stuff. as we go. So, causality. Now, this is one of the words, and I did forget to talk about this, and I forgot to do all my keywords when we started my key vocabulary. Causality, causality. So if we look at causality is what connects one process or state to another. So cause effect, and that's that connection between the dominoes, knocking down effect. Causality is one hits another, hits another, hits another, hits another, hits another. Now, my question that we posed in class is what would happen if I take out a domino? What would happen if someone stood in the middle and stopped the dominoes going down? And I wish I could actually have, I don't have any on me right this second. I think they're still under my desk at work. If I had them all lined up, and if I take out one, they don't connect. If I take out one event, it doesn't happen. So I want you to think about that in the next bit. So this is a little video, a little stop motion, and I borrowed my daughter's, and I'm just going to have to pause this. Okay, so I'm back. Plug my power cord back in. I made another little stop motion just to show before we did an activity with dominoes. And I suppose lucky thing is if you don't have any, you can actually use this as your example. You'll see that I've got one of my little girls, Duplo figures. We'll call this one Ez. He looks a bit happy to be Ez, a bit friendly, but my daughter really wanted me to use her Duplo people. So if I just play this, hopefully it'll play. Here we go. I'm just going to move myself out of the way so I can play. And watch what happens. Oh, sorry, I stopped it. Sec. Okay, so what you see in this, and you can go back through it, is that Ez lined up all the things. He was the cause. So you see all the things, all the dominoes that he caused, and he caused the knock-on effect. And we talked about how at the end, the manifestation. So that's, and I know that, I can't remember who it was, Lily and somebody else. Sorry, it's really late at night. Oh my goodness, I can't remember your name. I'm so sorry. Came up with the best answer about the manifestation, that it was all of these evil things, all these things that he did created April Aardvark. And again, yes, she looks a little friendly, but it's about representation. And you'll see that it is all the dominoes put together. So what we actually did is we built this, and we built our dominoes, and then we predicted what might happen next, what might be the next domino. And I'll see if I've got this picture just here, just a moment. Oh, no, keep going. Oh, I seem to be missing the picture in it. Hold it. Let me just pause this. Sorry, I found the right slide. I'm having a few technical difficulties tonight. So I've put it through to the different dominoes with the different pieces. So what is the cause? And we've got Ez there. We've got a macro, because remember, it's the long narrative thread, not any of the ones that have weaved through, or the short ones. And it's very macro in the sense that it hasn't got all the details, and there's a lot more into it. You could break it down a lot more. Ez and his friends create a fake social media profile to continue bullying people. Number two is the second domino, the second knock-on effect. Ez and his friends begin a chat as April Aardvark to bully people anonymously. Number three, some students like Deanna and Emmy, and that's another weaving small narrative thread within the macro. enjoy reading the group chat as they are not a target of the bullying. Number 4, Ez believes or knows that someone is pretending because he created it. He thinks, well, it's not real. Number 5, Ez confronts April, so inverted commas April, to find out who she is. And of course, there's so many other things in there. April continues to wreak havoc on the students at school. So when you look at all this, if I go to this one here, the thing you have to realize is what we talked about is if you take one away, and I think it was Nate that said, well, if we take away number 1, that's one of the most important ones. That's like the shot fired out of the gun. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing for him here, but that if you take away that first thing, none of it happened. But again, if you take away that his friends don't help him create the social media account, then, maybe all this wouldn't happen. That if the other people reading the group chat did something about it instead of going, oh, thank God it's not me, that would have been really helpful. One of the big ones I think is really important, and we talked about this, trying to group which one was important, is April continues to wreak havoc on the students at the school. No one seems to be able to stop her, and we talked about predicting what would happen next. So when if we look at our wheel up here up the back, thinking beyond the text, that we are anticipating what may happen next. And in some cases, we do know what happens next. It depends how far we've got through everything. So we're just about there. So sorry, this is a bit long, waffling a bit tonight. We've had a look at that, so we'll go on to the next one. We don't need to see him again. And again, it's just remembering that domino effect. But if you remove one of the dominoes, what happens? Something doesn't happen. So even if one of these 6 things didn't happen, I want you to think about what would have gone differently. If one person had just said, no, I'm not doing this, what would have happened? So again, email me, no silly questions. Please, please, please have a go at everything. Let me know if you get stuck, if you don't know a question. Again, I can give you feedback. Again, great to see you, and just take care of yourselves, and hopefully soon we'll be able to be back at school all of the time.